What if the reason you feel weak is not because life is too hard, but because modern life has trained you to avoid everything that would have made you strong? Think about that for a moment. Every day, the world offers you an easier exit. Scroll instead of think. React instead of reflect. Complain instead of confront. Numb yourself instead of sitting alone with what hurts. And the strange thing is, society calls this comfort. It calls this self-care. It tells you to protect your feelings, avoid pressure, and wait until you feel ready. But here is the truth nobody says out loud. A life built around comfort creates a mind that cannot handle reality. And reality does not care if you are ready. It comes anyway. The bill comes. The betrayal comes. The job pressure comes. The silent disrespect comes. The moment when nobody is coming to save you comes. And when that moment arrives, many people do not break because they are bad people. They break because they were never trained to stand. That is why Stoicism still matters. Not as some ancient philosophy to quote online. Not as a decoration for people who want to sound deep, but as a weapon for the mind. Marcus Aurelius ruled one of the most powerful empires in human history while losing children, facing betrayal, sickness, war, and responsibility most people today could not imagine. Epictetus was born a slave. Owned. Controlled. Stripped of freedom on the outside, yet he became one of the freest men who ever lived on the inside. Seneca wrote about peace while living under the shadow of a tyrant who could end his life at any moment. These were not comfortable men selling comfortable wisdom. They were men who learned how to stay standing in a world that keeps trying to bend you. And in this video, we are going through 5 Stoic lessons that can help you stop feeling weak, stop reacting like the world owns you, and begin training the part of you that pressure cannot reach. Stay until the end, because the final lesson is the one most people avoid. Real strength is not about becoming untouchable. It is about learning what to do with the pain that already touched you. Lesson 1. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. And you are choosing which one it becomes. Marcus Aurelius understood something most people never learn. The outside event is rarely what destroys you. Your judgment about the event does. That sounds simple until life tests it. 2 people get laid off from the same company. Same email. Same cold meeting with HR, same cardboard box on the desk. One person sees it as proof that life is over. He spirals for months, checks his phone obsessively, compares himself to people on LinkedIn, drinks more than he should, and starts believing he has lost his value. The other person feels the same fear at first. But after the first shock, he asks a different question. What is this forcing me to become? Same event. Different mind. Different future. This is what Stoicism teaches. You may not control the insult. You may not control the economy. You may not control who betrays you, who ignores you, who misunderstands you, or who walks away when you needed them. But your interpretation is yours. And that is where your power begins. Modern society does not want you to understand this. A reactive mind is easy to sell to. Easy to provoke. Easy to divide. Easy to control. If they can make you angry, afraid, offended, or desperate on command, then your mind is no longer your home. It becomes rented space for whatever noise gets there first. So the first act of strength is not shouting back. It is noticing. Noticing the story your mind creates. She ignored me, so I must not matter. My boss criticized me, so I am failing. They are ahead of me, so I am behind in life. These are not facts. They are interpretations. And when you stop worshipping every thought that appears in your head, you begin to take your life back. The Stoic does not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" He asks, "What meaning am I giving this, and is that meaning making me weaker or stronger?" That one question can save years of suffering. Lesson 2. Discomfort is not your enemy. Avoiding it is. There is a quiet weakness that does not look like weakness at first. It looks like hitting snooze one more time. It looks like avoiding the conversation because you don't want drama. It looks like ordering food again because cooking feels like effort. It looks like opening your phone the moment silence gets uncomfortable. It looks like pretending you are fine because telling the truth would require courage. And every time you escape discomfort, your brain learns one lesson: hard things are dangerous. Then one day, something truly difficult arrives, and your nervous system has no training. It panics. It runs. It collapses. Not because you were born weak. Because you practiced avoidance for years. Epictetus taught his students to rehearse difficulty voluntarily. Not because pain is holy. Not because suffering makes you better by itself. But because chosen discomfort prepares you for unchosen pain. There is a difference between being hurt by life and being trained by life. Think about the person who cannot handle a hard conversation. Every time tension appears, they disappear. They say, "It's fine," when it is not fine. They stay silent for months, then explode in one ugly moment and wonder why everything fell apart. That is not peace. That is emotional debt. Stoicism asks you to pay the price early. Make the call. Say the truth. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the task even when nobody is watching. Sit with the anxiety instead of feeding it with distraction. These small acts do not look dramatic. Nobody applauds them. Nobody posts about them. But they build something rare. Self-trust. Every time you do the uncomfortable thing on purpose, you send a message to yourself. I do not run from hard things. And after enough repetition, that message becomes identity. This is where mental toughness is built. Not in speeches. Not in quotes. Not in motivation videos. But in the private moment when your weaker self begs for escape, and you calmly choose discipline instead. Lesson 3. You are not your emotions. You are the one watching them. Most people live like their feelings are commands. They feel anger, so they attack. They feel fear, so they retreat. They feel jealousy, so they compare. They feel lonely, so they reach for someone who is bad for them. They feel disrespected, so they react in a way that proves the other person still controls them. But the Stoics saw emotion differently. An emotion is not your master. It is information. It rises. It speaks. It pressures you. But it does not have to drive. Epictetus said that no one can make you angry without your permission. That does not mean people cannot hurt you. Of course they can. It means the final response still belongs to you. And that gap between trigger and response is where your character lives. Imagine someone sends you a disrespectful message. Your chest tightens. Your hands move fast. You start typing something sharp, something that will hit back, something that will prove you are not weak. But pause for one breath. Ask yourself, what will this reaction cost me? Because every reaction has a price. Some reactions cost peace. Some cost dignity. Some cost relationships. Some cost opportunity. Some cost your ability to look back tomorrow and respect yourself. The world is full of people who know how to pull emotional strings. They know what to say to make you defend yourself. They know when to withdraw attention so you chase. They know when to provoke you so you expose your insecurity. A reactive person is readable. And what is readable is controllable. That is the Machiavellian reality beneath polite society. Many people do not need to overpower you. They only need to trigger you. Once they know your emotional buttons, they can move you without touching you. Stoicism breaks that pattern. Not by making you cold. Not by turning you into stone. But by teaching you to create space. One breath. One pause. One question. Is this worth losing myself over? Most of the time, it is not. Your peace is not cheap. Stop spending it on people who profit from your reaction. Lesson 4. Remember that your time is limited, and let it wake you up. Marcus Aurelius returned to death again and again in his private journals. Not because he was depressed. Because he wanted to stay awake. Memento mori. Remember you will die. To many people, that sounds dark. But to the Stoic, it is clarifying. Because when you truly understand that your time is limited, nonsense loses power. The embarrassing moment you keep replaying from 3 years ago. Memento mori. The person who did not clap for you. Memento mori. The grudge eating your mornings. Memento mori. The dream you keep postponing until things calm down. Memento mori. One day, there will be no next month. No better timing. No perfect version of you finally ready to begin. There will only be the life you lived, and the life you kept delaying. This is where modern society traps people. It sells the illusion of infinite time. Another video. Another weekend. Another year. Another chance to become disciplined later. But later is where weak intentions go to die. A man can spend 10 years preparing to change and never change. He can watch videos about discipline, read books about mental toughness, talk about his potential, and still avoid the one thing he knows he must do. The Stoic does not romanticize tomorrow. He uses today. Not perfectly. Not dramatically. But honestly. If you need to apologize, do it. If you need to start over, start. If you need to stop giving access to people who drain your mind, stop. If you need to face the part of yourself you have been avoiding, face it before life forces you to. Death is not meant to make you hopeless. It is meant to remove the lies. And the biggest lie is that you have unlimited time to become the person you already know you need to be. Lesson 5. Strength is not the absence of struggle. It is what you build from it. This is the lesson most people misunderstand. They think mental toughness means nothing hurts you. But that is not strength. That is numbness. The Stoics were not numb. Marcus grieved. Seneca feared. Epictetus suffered. They were human. They felt pain, loss, pressure, betrayal, and uncertainty. The difference is that they did not let pain become their identity. Many people do. They go through one betrayal and become suspicious of everyone. They fail once and start calling themselves a failure. They get rejected and begin living like rejection is proof they should never try again. Pain enters their life as an event, but they turn it into a prison. Stoicism teaches something harder and more freeing. You cannot always choose the wound. But you can choose what you build around it. A stronger boundary. A clearer mind. A quieter ego. A deeper discipline. a better understanding of who deserves access to you and who never did. This is where pain becomes useful. Not because it was fair. Not because you deserved it. But because you refused to let it be wasted. There is a version of you that does not collapse under pressure. A version that can sit in discomfort without needing to escape. A version that can be misunderstood without begging to be seen. A version that can lose something and still not lose himself. That version is not reserved for special people. It is built. One response at a time. One uncomfortable choice at a time. One honest moment at a time. The Stoics were not superhuman. They simply trained what most people neglect. They trained the mind with the seriousness of a fighter training the body. Every morning, when pressure started building. Every afternoon, when life did not go their way. Every night, when the mind became loud and restless. They returned to practice. That is what Stoicism is. Not inspiration. Practice. Not a quote. A standard. Not something you admire. Something you live. So here is the recap. Your mind can either become your weapon or your enemy. The event does not decide your future. Your interpretation does. Discomfort is not the thing destroying you. Avoidance is. Every hard thing you face on purpose trains you for the hard things you did not choose. You are not your emotions. You are the one watching them. And if someone can control your reaction, they can control your direction. Your time is limited. Not as a depressing thought, but as a wake-up call. Stop postponing the life that requires courage now. And finally, strength is not never being hurt. Strength is taking what hurt you and refusing to let it make you smaller. You do not need to wait until life gets easier. You do not need to wait until you feel confident. You do not need to wait until your mind is calm, your schedule is clear, or your fear disappears. You begin with fear still present. You begin while the pressure is still there. You begin before you feel ready. Because that is what mental toughness actually is. Not the absence of fear. The refusal to obey it. So today, choose one lesson. Just one. Pause before reacting. Do the uncomfortable task. Stop feeding the thought that weakens you. Remember that your time is not endless. Turn one painful experience into one stronger boundary. Small decisions, repeated quietly, create people who are hard to break. And maybe that is the real secret the Stoics left behind. You do not become strong by waiting for life to stop hurting. You become strong by deciding that pain will no longer be the thing that controls you. If this message spoke to something you have been carrying, share in the comments which lesson you needed most today. And if you want more Stoic lessons for mental discipline, quiet strength, and emotional control, subscribe to Stoic Craft. Because the life you want is not waiting on the other side of comfort. It is waiting on the other side of the thing you keep avoiding.